So, you've decided to embrace the tiny life, either because you're a minimalist, a budget warrior, or you just really hate cleaning big spaces. Who needs that kind of negativity in their lives? Lucky for you, Amazon has a wild selection of prefab tiny homes under $10,000 that promise to squeeze your entire existence into a space smaller than a celebrity's walk-in closet. But before you click add to cart and kiss your spacious lifestyle goodbye, let's take a funny, brutally honest look at 6 of these cozy, claustrophobic abodes, and see if they're actually livable or just glorified garden sheds with delusions of grandeur. Buckle up, Buttercup, it's gonna be a bumpy, and by bumpy I mean hilariously cramped ride. First up, we've got this beauty. It's sleek, it's modern, and it's definitely not what you'd expect when you think of a traditional home. But hey, who needs tradition when you can have innovation? Honestly, from a distance you might mistake it for one of those portable toilets they have at music festivals. You know, the ones you avoid at all costs after the first day. But nope, it's your new home. A cozy, compact, and somewhat quirky abode that's sure to turn heads and spark conversations. This bad boy boasts all the comforts of home, assuming your home is a metal box with questionable ventilation. It's got walls, it's got a roof. And let's not forget the charm of living in what feels like a futuristic pod. It's even got a door that you can probably only open halfway before hitting the bed. But hey, who needs a fully functional door when you're living the minimalist dream? Speaking of the bed, it's a Murphy bed naturally. Because who needs floor space when you can have a giant metal accordion attached to your wall? It's the epitome of space-saving design. Pros? Well, you'll save a fortune on heating bills because your body heat will turn this place into a sauna in approximately 3.5 seconds. Imagine the savings during those cold winter months. Plus, think of the minimalist street cred you'll get. Living in a space this small is like earning a badge of honor in the minimalist community. Yeah, I live in a shipping container, ironically. Cons? Claustrophobia? Check. But hey, it's all part of the experience, right? The overwhelming urge to write, "Help me on the roof" with a Sharpie? Double check. It's a unique way to express your creativity and sense of humor. Best for? This metal masterpiece is perfect for the aspiring minimalist who also happens to be a contortionist with a death wish. It's a bold choice for those who dare to live differently. Ah, the modern garden cabin. Don't let the fancy name fool you folks, this is a shed. A shed with windows, maybe a lick of paint, but a shed nonetheless. This particular model comes with a loft that's generously described as a sleeping area. What they mean is, it's a glorified crawl space where you can practice your Spider-Man poses while trying to avoid a concussion. On the bright side, there's usually enough room for a composting toilet. That's right, you can enjoy the sweet smell of your own bodily waste while simultaneously pretending you're roughing it in the wilderness. Pros? You can finally live out your childhood dream of having a treehouse, except it's on the ground and instead of a tire swing, you get a rusty old grill. This one's for the nature enthusiast who's allergic to actual nature. Okay, this one might be pushing it, even for me. I mean, I've seen prison cells on lockup that were bigger than this thing. It's so small you have to apply for a permit to breathe in here. I'm not even kidding, this tiny home makes a studio apartment look like a sprawling mansion. The kitchen consists of a hot plate and a half-empty spice rack. The bathroom, if you can even call it that, is basically a shower curtain strategically placed around a bucket. Pros? You'll never lose your keys again. Why? Because you can literally reach everything from your bed, which also doubles as your dining room table, your home office, and your emotional support system. Cons? Let's just say, if you value your sanity, and your ability to stretch your legs without hitting a wall, you might want to skip this one. Best for, this one's for the hardcore minimalist who's also training to be an astronaut. Chapter 4. The 3-bedroom lie, tiny home. Now this one's just false advertising at its finest. They call it a 3-bedroom tiny home. 3 bedrooms? Where? Are they counting the space under the sink as a bedroom? Because last I checked, even hamsters need more room than that. Here's the deal, they've taken the concept of a bunk bed and multiplied it by a factor of, well, a lot. You've got bunk beds stacked on top of bunk beds with a pull-out trundle bed underneath for good measure. Pros? If you've ever dreamed of sleeping in a giant Jenga tower, this is the tiny home for you. Plus, you'll save a fortune on babysitters, because your kids will be too busy fighting over who gets the top bunk to cause any real trouble. Have you ever tried sharing a room with 2 other people? Now imagine that, but you're all adults and the room is the size of a pantry. Best for families who hate privacy, personal space, and any semblance of a normal life. Chapter 5, The Modern Tiny Home. That's just a fancy trailer. Okay, I'm starting to see a pattern here. Every so-called modern tiny home seems to be following the same blueprint. This modern tiny home is really just a fancy trailer with a fresh coat of paint and some strategically placed succulents. They've dressed it up to look chic, but it's still a trailer at heart. It's like they took a mobile home, shrunk it in the wash, and said, boom, tiny living. The transformation is impressive, but let's not kid ourselves. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with trailers. They serve their purpose and can be quite cozy. My first apartment was basically a glorified Winnebago parked behind a bowling alley. It had its charm in a quirky sort of way. But let's call a spade, people. We need to be honest about what these homes really are. This is not a house. It's a trailer with aspirations. It's trying hard to be something it's not. It's got all the charm of a highway rest stop and all the spaciousness of a clown car. You'll be bumping into things constantly. Pros? You can finally live out your nomadic fantasies. Travel wherever the road takes you. Just hitch this bad boy to the back of your pickup truck and hit the open road. Freedom at your fingertips. Just make sure you know how to parallel park this thing, because finding a parking spot is going to be your new full-time job. It's not as easy as it looks. Best for the aspiring influencer who wants to live that van life aesthetic without actually having to rough it in a van. Perfect for those Instagram shots. Chapter 6. The A-Frame of Regret. Tiny Cabin. Last but not least, we have the A-Frame of Regret. This tiny cabin is a testament to the idea that not all small things are inherently charming or practical. This architectural masterpiece is proof that sometimes bigger is not always better, but smaller can be a whole lot worse. The A-frame design, while visually striking, often sacrifices functionality for form. It's like they took a geometry textbook, threw it out the window and said, let's build a house based on that. The result is a structure that defies conventional living spaces. From the outside, it looks kinda charming, like a cozy little cabin in the woods. The steeply pitched roof and triangular shape give it a fairy tale appearance. But step inside and you'll quickly realize that this thing is basically a giant triangle with a door. The interior space is severely limited by the sloping walls. You'll spend half your life bent over at a 45-degree angle trying to avoid hitting your head on the ceiling, and the other half wondering why you ever thought this was a good idea. The lack of vertical space makes everyday tasks a challenge. The loft sleeping area is only accessible by a rickety ladder that looks like it was designed by a team of squirrels on caffeine. Climbing up and down feels like an extreme sport. Pros? It's, unique, I guess. Look, I'm trying really hard here, people. The quirky design might appeal to those who value aesthetics over practicality. Best for, this one's for the masochist who's always dreamed of living in a cramped, impractical space where every day is a constant battle against gravity, sharp angles, and the urge to bang your head against the very low ceiling. If you're up for a challenge and love unique designs, this might just be your dream home. Final verdict, should you buy one? So, there you have it, folks. 6 Amazon tiny homes that are long on charm, okay, maybe not charm, but definitely on the uniqueness, and short on square footage. Yes, if you enjoy creative space-saving hacks, like using your oven as a nightstand, you've always dreamed of living in a glorified garden shed, or you're okay with neighbors asking, wait, you live in that? No, if you enjoy things like walking or not smelling your own feet 24/7, you have more than 2 pairs of shoes, or you've ever said, I need personal space. Bottom line, these tiny homes are cheap, quirky, and questionably livable. Which one would you regret buying? Let me know in the comments.